The US has still not learned that money is not going to make a nation, which is a victim of its own misdeeds, change its mind. Washington was on the front lines of the campaign to disrupt political stability and cause economic devastation in Myanmar. But ever since Naypyidaw found Russia as an ally, the US is doing everything it can to break the unbreakable bond. Hi and welcome to TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I'm your host Atul Mishra. Let's begin. The US and its partners imposed another round of sanctions on Myanmar's junta, marking the 2-year anniversary of the coup. This time, Washington targeted the Union Election Commission, mining companies, energy officials, and officials from the military. This is the first time the US has targeted Myanmar oil and gas enterprise MOGE, which is junta's single largest source of revenue. The Biden administration sanctioned the managing director and his deputy. The US's partners, including Canada, Australia, and the UK, also imposed sanctions on the junta regime. Ottawa sanctioned 6 people and banned the export, sale, or shipment of aviation fuel, while Australia went after the Burmese military and its entities. This marks a complete deviation from the US's earlier action. A few days back, the Biden administration gave an exemption to a Japanese construction company to make a financial transaction with a company owned by the Myanmar's military. The payment by Yokogawa Bridge Corporation was related to a government-funded bridge in Myanmar's commercial hub of Yangon. Now, the US giving an exemption to a company of its ally Japan so that it can do business with Myanmar's junta, which is an adversary of Washington, pointed to a sinister plot of the West. As earlier, the same US was rallying around the world against Myanmar, imposing sanctions on it and calling for the prosecution of military leaders in the ICJ. So the question then arises, what prompted the US to reverse its policy with respect to Myanmar? Is there any conspiracy behind the decision of the Biden administration to allow Japan to do trade with Myanmar? The answer is yes. The US's newfound interest in the political and diplomatic interests of Southeast Asia is caused by Russia's involvement in this situation. In the aftermath of the coup in 2021 and Western sanctions, Myanmar started establishing good ties with Moscow. While Naypyidaw receives arms, resources, and diplomatic support from Russia in the geopolitically hostile climate, Russia added another buyer to its long list of buyers of its advanced weaponry in the face of US and EU sanctions. Myanmar's ruler, Senior General Min Aung Hlaing, also visited Russia thrice and supported its military's operation in Ukraine. Hence, the US wanted to break this strong alliance between Russia and Myanmar and counter the presence of Moscow in Southeast Asia. So it deployed its ally Japan to bribe Myanmar's junta leader in order to persuade him into severing ties with Russia. However, Biden and his allies' plan to lure Myanmar's regime into their camp failed miserably. It is because of the fact that Naypyidaw is aware of the nefarious agenda of the West, which will not think twice before throwing Myanmar under the bus for its political and economic gains. Moscow has been extremely helpful to Myanmar in the backdrop of hostility created by the US and Europe against it. Moreover, Russia also respects the sovereignty, security, and territorial integrity of Myanmar, unlike the West. Therefore, as Myanmar refused to get tempted by Biden's offer and didn't break its partnership with Moscow, a desperate Biden and his allies, including Justin Trudeau, decided to intensify their sanctions on the Southeast Asian country. This time, they are targeting the oil and gas enterprise, which is linked to the junta regime, hoping that their measures impact Myanmar. However, since Myanmar has the political, diplomatic, and military backing of Russia, the West's sanctions will not be able to do any major damage. They are bound to die a quick death in the face of Russia's presence.